Hi, my name is Winston Gao. I'm a researcher and inventor in agriculture, water, and nutrition. And today we're going to talk about a very special subject, and that is feminizing of America. Now, this is not exactly a very nice thing to be talking about, but it's a very serious thing in which we have one of the most toxic female estrogen mimicking pollution that is in our environment. For example, just so you have some reality how severe this is. In Florida, we have hermaphrodite alligators. That's alligators, male alligators that have both the female organs as well as the male organs, and they're basically infertile. We have lesbian seagulls, okay? That's on the wild animal kingdom. Now, in the human side, if you take a look at the young girls in the last, say 5 to 10 years, or maybe a little bit longer than that, we have severe menstrual issues going down way down to ages of 6, 7, 8, and 9. We have much bigger breast developments. Our breast cancer is just out the roof. And then, of course, nobody's talking about the boys. Well, what do you have when you have a boy that's got way too much female estrogen? Well, you're going to have small genitals, or they're sometimes calling them micro penises. You will have homosexuality coming around. And, you know, while there may be a few people who do it by choice, I like to assure you, when you see hermaphrodite alligators and lesbian seagulls, which are just wild animals, they don't usually go in that direction. They don't have that kind of sentient choices. So you can assume a tremendous volume of humans are becoming homosexual, not because of their own choices, but because of the chemical pollution. And one of the things I have written about is that I'm asking parents, are you feminizing your baby boys and baby girls? You're making them more female than they ought to be. Because let's face it, both male and female, we have both hormones. Males have more testosterone, but that doesn't mean we don't have progesterone and estrogen and other female hormones. We have them too. They have to be in a proper balance. And one of the things that you really have to realize is that you have to be aware that you are actually consuming these female hormones, okay? Now, one of the worst things that cause the alligators and the birds to go homosexual and to become hermaphrodites, oceans full of fish that are just all females and almost no male fish, this is actually caused by human what you call hormone replacement therapy. And the city just cleans up the water as best as they can. They generally just take out the detergents and stuff like that. But the drugs, the hormone replacement therapy, there is no technology known to man at this point to actually clean that out of the water. So that gets flushed and put back into the environment, and that's why we have hermaphrodite alligators and, you know, lesbian seagulls and all these weird things that are occurring in our environment. But even more importantly, pesticides, herbicides, these are also female estrogen mimicking. Textile industries, toxic chemicals, they are also female estrogen mimicking materials. But even more important than just that is you'll get food sources that also have a tremendous amount of female estrogen mimicking material. A good example would be chicken, beef, right? You could get hormone replacement therapies. You're getting not the hormone replacement therapy as far as toxic materials in the water, but you also get RBGH. This is for the milk. They shoot steroids. They use estrogen to fatten the pigs and the chickens and the cows. If you start and think with the data, chickens on the farm will grow in about 18 weeks. Chickens grown commercially today, they get them in 6 weeks. Like, yo, what's wrong with this picture? You know, you really realize that's a lot of estrogen that's being pumped into the chicken, which then you are eating, right? And so, don't be surprised why you see all these girls with real severe menstrual cramps, big breasts, cancer that follows behind that. And if you just look around, the cancer, we're not talking about 60, 70, 80-year-old women getting cancer. We're talking about young girls, 20s, 30s, That's way, totally unheard of. So this is a serious issue. The other thing which I have not mentioned, which is soy. Now, soy is extremely toxic, and it has 500% excess female estrogen. Now, soy has traditionally always been grown in China because it is a natural fluoride and arsenic removal plant. So it extracts the arsenic out from the ground. This is why China has grown so much soybean originally. And they had tons of these beans, and they knew they were toxic. And they had to find some solution to utilize this great product other than just plow it back into the ground, which, handles the toxicity of arsenic. So they made soy sauce, they made miso, highly fermented materials in order to cancel out the toxicity of soybean. Now, when they started to have the advent of tofu, you have to understand that tofu was actually invented some 900 years ago, and the purpose was not very nice. Basically, the Chinese kings and queens at that time considered China had too much population, and they wanted to wipe out the poor people, and they wanted to wipe out the dissidents, the Shaolin priests, the freedom fighters, okay, the independence thinkers. So those were the people that they targeted. And so they created tofu to genetically change that group, wipe out that group, okay? So that's where tofu actually came from. And soy milk, by the way, is not a Chinese invention. This is an American invention. It was invented by a Seventh-day Adventist who, back in the 30s, promoted to the Japanese, and they didn't take to the soy milk. They thought it was horrible. So he went to China, and of course, back in the 40s, China had war, they had no protein, and they figured out how to do something good with the soy milk and make it taste good. So that's how soy milk got popular in China. Not a normal food that the Chinese normally would have eaten. So soy is a very big bad boy. Your meats and chickens and things that are grown commercially with steroids, hormones, not a good thing to consume. Now it gets into the plastics. Styrofoam, especially when you go to Chinese restaurants, they'll saute these hot foods, throw it right into the styrofoam, and there you have it. High concentrated plastic, phytates, female estrogen materials that now you are directly consuming these materials. Not a very good thing, but yet a very common thing that a lot of us do. So, and if you want to really have something high toxic in your food, take a saran wrap, wrap it up, cover your food, put it in a microwave, and zap it. Now, there is one heavy-duty, toxic-laden dish of food that you're going to be consuming. And it's commonly done in restaurants so that the microwave oven doesn't get splattered up and looking dirty. So this is something very important, that people start having awareness that you can't just go melting plastic right on top of your food. This is a serious, not okay item thing to do. So you can tell that there are things that you can do to seriously lower your estrogen consumption. And the last thing I'm going to leave is all that plastic bottles. Now, 90% of the water that are in bottles is made from reverse osmosis water. It has no minerals. It's highly acidic. Usually it has a pH of 5.5 to 6.4 pH. This water will extract the plastic from the bottle. Even if it's number one, it is reverse osmosis. It has no minerals. And so this is something that one has to be definitely aware that you are not just drinking cleaner water, but you're drinking acidic water that's loaded with plastic, another female estrogen source that you should definitely not do. So take care, be aware, and I'll see you next time.